All right, hello everyone. I have a special guest today. What's your name?
Eliana.
Eliana is my 6-year-old daughter, and we just had a fun night at the our first kindergarten dance. Right? It was a good time. And so we're gonna start where we left off in First Peter, and we're gonna look at verses 13 through 16, and we'll just talk through them briefly. So the verse says, "Therefore, prepare your minds for action. Keep sober in spirit. Fix your hope completely on the grace to be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. As obedient children, do not be conformed to the former lusts which were yours in your ignorance. But like the Holy One who called you, be holy yourselves in all your behavior, because it is written, 'You shall be holy, for I am holy.'" And so, um, really like this verse because it's actionable. It's the Peter's telling us here that we need to be prepared and we need to have our minds prepared for action. And a part of that is being sober in spirit. But I think the most of what he's saying is fix your hope completely on the grace to be brought to you um, through Jesus, through the revelation of Jesus Christ. And so um, it's exciting because he's saying that um, we can be prepared for the trials and the tribulations that we run into in this life as long as we're putting our hope completely in Jesus. And this reminds me of a verse in Romans, Romans 12:2, where it says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect." And so um, the thing I like about this verse is that it's saying that the world is going to corrupt your thinking, and you don't want to have that world be the influence for you. You need to be renewing your mind so that you may be able to practice what is good, acceptable, and perfect. There's someone by the name of Caroline Leaf, who's a neuroscientist, I believe, and I read one of her books called the I think it's called the 21 Day Fix, and she touches on this verse a lot and talks about how our minds can be transformed. She speaks of neuroplasticity and how our brains are plastic and we can make them into what we want them as long as we can put the effort in to be able to transform our thinking. And so I would encourage anyone who has a negative thought patterns or needs to renew their mind to not be conformed to the world, to spend some time reading her book, but also practicing the principles that she has, because they do really work and they're super beneficial. Um, I've also been spending a lot of time thinking about kind of renewing my mind and preparing my mind in the Psalms, and Psalm 51 is just something that I've been enjoying quite a bit lately, and so I'm gonna turn over there real quick and just speak briefly to that because there's also a piece on so how do we do that. I think Caroline Leaf does a really good job of telling us how we can kind of transform our mind, but the Bible is our best source, and I think she would agree with that wholeheartedly. And some of it can feel works based, and so okay, well, I'm going to just work and that's going to transform my mind. And I really like what it says in Psalm 51, where it says, "O Lord, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise, for you delight in sacrifice, or you do not delight in sacrifice, sorry, otherwise I would give it. You are not pleased with burnt offerings. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. O God, you will not despise." And so what I gather from that, and the phrase that I think is, God wants loyalty over sacrifice. He doesn't want us to just give things or to do works. He wants our heart to be fully committed to Him and Him alone, and that and works will just be an outpouring of our love and adoration for Him, and our desire to glorify Him. And so, what I would say is that the first step in preparing and transforming your mind is by starting with your heart. We talked about last week the longest journey that you'll ever make is from the head to the heart, but you need to really focus on your heart to make sure that as you're thinking certain things, they're glorifying to God, and you need to prepare yourself accordingly so that when those trials and tribulations do come, you're in a position where you can lean fully on God and trust His plan and His will, because it's perfect, and we need to truly believe that. And the best way we can believe that is by spending time with Him in the Word and in prayer, and making sure that we're not doing it out of service, but we're doing it out of love. And so we lost our special guest, and I guess that's time to shut down. So I thank you guys, and I hope this was beneficial. God bless.